is the COMELEC. Are those the true parameters? Is that the only true parameter of failure and success? Are you telling me at the end of the day, sasabihin ng COMELEC, successful tayo o failure tayo? Yes or no?
No, it will always be the people, the candidates affected who would call the attention of the COMELEC.
In the Philippines, walang natatalo, lahat nadadaya. Alam mo naman yan, I've been saying that. In every election, how many have we had? 14. Wala naman at talk to any politician that's lost. And you know what he'll tell you? Nadaya ako.
Halimbawa, nadaya. Then let him come out, file a petition for a declaration of failure of election in that area kung talagang nadaya siya. Pero kung nanalo siya.
But has not that very institution called the COMELEC failed when they get to sit down the guy who really won? In this case, for example, Among Ed, Padaka, Mendoza of Bulacan, who else, di ba? Who will sit down, and before that, 3 years ago, 6 years ago, it was this guy, Carino, who sat down for 1 day, di ba, in Congress. Is that not a failure of the COMELEC by itself? To put you to come to a decision 3 years later, and so many hundreds of thousands, if not millions later, and say, okay, ikaw ang panalo. You sit for 1 day, and then you campaign again.
That is the system of our democratic system.
But is it not a failure of the institution called the COMELEC?
If 50,000 ballots being contested by 2 candidates for counting and recounting.
50 million ballots.
And recounting. Okay. You have observed in court or in any proper venue where petition for recount is being held. Did you notice that once a ballot is read, the other party would object? In the objection alone, they would consume about 2 or 3 hours. In 1 day, how many ballots have been read? Only about 10 ballots. That is why, before the termination of the case, only 1 day is allotted to Carino of Pasig. You're referring to
No. I'm not subjecting the COMELEC into the system of how they manually count it and what is supposed to be legally correct to protect the rights of both sides. But I'm just saying, isn't it a failure of the institution, regardless of the process, if the institution cannot find other ways and means to correct that situation, to bring justice denied is justice lost. Justice delayed is justice denied.
That is a poetic jurisprudence, but not really. No actuality on that. Now, if you try to rust up everything,
ba't sa Amerika nagagawa nila? Ba't dito hindi? It takes 3 years to 6 years.
Advance nga sila doon sa automation. Ngayon pa lang tayo mag-uumpisa nito eh.
Yun ang nga sinasabi naman ni Ike. Ang problema na ngayon, we're putting too many eggs in this automation when he was saying even earlier before the show, it took how many years for the banks to roll out ATMs? 11,000 ATMs?
20 years.
20 years. Until now, minsan ATM, papasok ka, may card ka, nakalagay offline.
Nag-roll out ako ng more than 1,000 machines. Okay? It took me more than a year.
The point is, in the event of a failure, are we going to allow the COMELEC, constitutionally, they're the only ones bound by law who can say, successful, failure. Di ba? COMELEC na pwede, wala naman iba pwede magsabi niya.
No institution will ever fail. Harry.
Let's get technical, Frank.
Yes.
Okay? Nandun sa bidding documents, the error rate should not exceed 1%. Therefore, pag nag-exceed yan, pag nag-exceed ng 1% yan, failure yan. Kasi hindi naman in-amend yung bid documents eh.
Failure of what? Election?
Failure of the requirement. Kaya nga, the definition of successful automation is it should not exceed more than 1% error. Andun sa bid documents eh. Hindi naman na-amend yun, Frank eh. Therefore, it becomes 2% failure na.
But who will declare nga it's a failure and it's a success?
You don't have to declare, umamin na sila eh.
So who declared that the COMELEC
It
lost?
doesn't mean...
Which agency?
Yun, empirical data yan eh.
When somebody admits a guilt, for example, that does not mean that he is guilty.
Okay.
Admission is not
Okay, pero Frank, madali
an
naman.
indication of guilt.
Alam mo, sa computer, may data trail. May tinatawag na data forensics. So it can be verified na the error rate went beyond 1%.
And if that goes beyond 1...
Empirical data, you cannot change that eh.
Okay. Gentlemen, we're going to have to take a short break. Ladies and gentlemen, the reason I'm driving this nail, I keep pushing it, is because really, as we come back, I'd like to actually bring it more into what we call the word institution, exactly what this means in legal parlance, or what we call our politics, our jurisprudence, or even basically our democracy. The independence of specific institutions and how they stand to safeguard what we call our freedoms, or we loosely call our democracy, what I call democracy. The real issue here is the institutions, which I'd like to go in. Of course, when we come back, I will bring it further out together with our two resource people, our hosts here in GNN, to bring out exactly the political side of this. What happens if Noy Noy loses? Basically, ganun lang labanan po niya. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Biyak sila.
Okay, we're back. We continue to talk even in the break that we took just a while ago, and I'll bring you up to date. We're talking about issues of exactly, well, before we even spread out to the institution, back to the COMELEC, and Ike here is saying, we have Ike Señeres with Ka-Iking Live every Thursday. He's a GNN host contributor, together with Dr. Frank Grego with Congress Magazine. That's every Wednesday night at 9 o'clock. And he, too, is a host contributor. Ike, you were saying, roll out na nila.
As of today, they're rolling it out regionally.
All right.
So,
but
we're happy
regional,
to see them do that.
Oh,
no?
okay.
But after that, mayroon pang provincial rollout.
Okay.
Okay. From the provincial level, mayroon pang municipal or city level. Pagdating sa precinct level, i-customize pa yan.
And 14 days is just physically impossible.
Physically impossible. Now, ganito pa. Once you customize the software, you have to bug and debug pa that one.
Yeah, that I heard. Bug and debug. And you have to test the machines over and over.
Test the machine.
Kasi zero balance mo yan, kumbaga.
And ito na, kaninang umaga, nakakatakot yung sinabi ng COMELEC. Last 2 days ago pala, yung sinabi na inamin nila na maraming lugar na walang kuryente. That scared me. Why? Because all along they said that the machine is fully battery operated.
You know,
why take up the electricity issue now?
I don't understand, Ike, but sometimes the COMELEC baffles me because they have many spokespeople. You've got Commissioner Larazabal who says one thing. You've got the very nice gentleman, Commissioner Sarmiento, who's very careful with his speech and always ever so nice and accommodating, di ba? And he's also a learned man, like both of them. I give the integrity to Commissioner Melo, having come from the judiciary. And of course, the guy who tries so hard, Mr. James Jimenez, not to mention the prowess of Attorney Rafanan. Now, surely, I didn't mention PPCRB, Ambassador Tita de Villa, who represents a very strong part of what you call the control, di ba? Or the Parish Pastoral Council, the presence. Now, surely, all these heads cannot roll in 14 days when the election comes and this fail. I mean, really, these people have put their lives to create the integrity, the position of who they are today. Ano yan, in 14 days, they're all gonna be, they're gonna be made inutil. Like, ano ba kayo? Sira ba kayo? Stupid ba kayo? Anong ginawa nyo? Pinabagsak nyo yung eleksyon. Di ba parang...
Nakahanda na ang palusot nila, Harry. They laid the predicate already.
Which is?
Yung jammer, yung hacker. Yun.
You mean we're going to hear excuses on the day of election?
Yeah, pati yung lumubo yung papel.
Now let's go forward. Let's assume all of that is possible. Let's not even negate that. Let's say that there is, ano sasabihin ng COMELEC? There is a failure of election. Yes or no? Sila dapat magsasabi. Will they say yes or no? They will not. Correct me if I'm wrong. The institution will continue to exist and to maintain the institution because after all, it's an independent institution created for democracy. They will say, there is no, baka yung sistema na iba lang ng konti. Tama, hindi? Tama, doktor, no? Parang ganon. Okay. Natalo ngayon si Noy Noy. Who's the survey lead by now, he's worse. Kanyari si Rojas, Vice President, who's now close to 80% and all his opponents are easily single digit. Laki ng lead masyado ni Vice President Rojas ngayon For Vice Presidency rather, si Senator Rojas. Natalo si Rojas, nanalo kunwari si Binay, or nanalo si Edu, o, di ba? Whatever. You don't think they're gonna say, hey guys, dinaya ako ng COMELEC, dinaya ako ng automation.
Of course they will.
Yeah. Now, where are we and where do we hold the integrity of each of these institutions